If you think there's a way I can help your Comicsgate project with a little free publicity, let me know. Click the links to join the Discord or send me an email. Imagine being the kind of person who identifies as a customer. I think we have a fundamental schism between those of us who live in the real world and those of us who live in an imaginary fairyland. A customer doesn't identify as such. That's what they are. When you exchange goods or services for money, you have a buyer and a seller relationship. The SJWs say that comics are a community. It's a group of friends. But a community may exclude people. A business can't. What happens when you run an industry like a community of friends? It fails. Nobody wants to fire a friend. The problem with SJW comics is that they are SJWs. Their agenda isn't to give the buyer what they want, it's to push an alt-left agenda of hate. SJWs don't have friends, they have mutual enemies, but they don't trust each other, and they don't support each other. Imagine if Gail Simone crowdfunded a project, The Adventures of a Little Muslim Girl Fighting Blonde Terrorists. How well would it do? Gail has twice the name recognition that EVS does. Will Gail do twice as well? Only one way to find out. Saddle up, Gail. People are wondering about if the mainstream guys are going to crowdfund. They're assuming that the industry is over. I think the industry has taken a hit, but people are sick of quarantine. They are ready to open up businesses again. People are willing to accept some risk. Life is risk. Once face masks are widely available, then it's time to open everything. Gosh darn you. And see how I didn't automatically swear? And try to get back to normal. After all, babies need to be made, and it's hard to do that from 2 meters away. It might turn out that most of us already had the Wu flu and were asymptomatic, thus meaning that the virus is orders of magnitude less dangerous than previously assumed. What tells me the virus isn't that dangerous, is serious, is that, one, the panic about it is over. It seems like over the course of a week, the panic just kind of dissipated. And two, the media is using fear porn about Winnie's flu to try and hurt Trump in 2020. But the viewers aren't buying it. That's what's cool about social media. We get in the comments and tell CNN to stop with their propaganda. Maybe Elon Musk was right. My point being that I think all the SJWs this time next month are going to be happily back at work making Blonde Man Bad comics. But on average, every year there are fewer stores to sell their Batgirl, Shuri, Ironheart, carcinogenic comics, so the average income of creators slowly and steadily declines. It went from a lucrative business, misspelled, where a small amount of comic product would net a lot of money, to one where a lot of work nets enough to rent an apartment in a diverse part of the city. So if they were wise, they would work on a Kickstarter on the side while they worked in mainstream comics. The reason they don't is because they rightly suspect that the interest just isn't there. The Pride, Ghosted in L.A., my hoodie is blocking the camera. Ghosted in L.A., Vagrant Queen are virtue-signaling charity buys. While Scenic Grace, Mags, Joe Glass do have talent, in my opinion, they refuse to use it. Excuse my hubris here, but I could increase sales of Ghosted in LA with a few very simple edits. Remove the religious bigotry and the diversity cancer. It's not integral to the story. It excludes Christians and, well, non-bigoted people. The story is about ghosts and the background is a romance. Focus on that part of the story. That sells to 1 million people, not the aspect that sells to 1,000. I strongly suspect that comics are a vanity project to some SJWs because they have money from a spouse or a parent, which is fine for them, but it's very bad for an industry. An industry grows or dies. Comicsgate is no exception. Somebody pointed that out last night, but I forget who. An industry needs hungry people. It needs hungry people to grow. Your boy was ravenous. He saw a sick industry where the goal wasn't to sell fun stories, it was to take over a sector so they could use it to espouse their alt-left hatred. When you have people who don't need to sell comics to pay their mortgage, then you get bad comics. You have SJWs who don't believe that they should have to pay rent. They don't believe in merit. But to be fair, they don't understand the concept of merit. They think that they are geniuses and that the proletariat and bourgeoisie should bow to their superior way of thinking. They believe in equality, but not really. They will always be the first among equals. But that doesn't mathematically make sense. Oh, so you're a Nazi then. If you define them as people who believe in the real world, then send me the application, because last time they rejected me. Something about me being Untermensch. Honorary positions. What are they called? Sinecures? Where you have a title, but you don't make a decision. That's harmless. But SJWs who use comics as a vanity project for Twitter dopamine hits are actually hurting the industry. There are floods of bad comics people have to wade through to find the good ones. There's only so much shelf space in stores. Eventually the stores get filled up with bad comics and the buyer gives up and finds a new hobby. Okay, social media versus financial pressure in business decisions. Comics are a community of far-left creators who are making writing decisions based on social pressure from social media users. The problem is these Twitter SJWs are not buying the product that they demand. I think Miss Marvel should be a Muslim girl who fights evil blonde men. I would be all over that. That's literally how they speak on Twitter. Great, so how many issues of this sort of thing will you be buying every week? Oh, I can't buy any comics right now because the stores are full of toxic cis energy. Okay, well here's a LGBT store where everyone is fat and has blue hair. Oh, I don't actually buy comics, I just read them secondhand. These are the people who are controlling the industry. It's a strange business where someone other than the buyer is making decisions for the buyer. Oh yeah, that's socialism. Well, how successful is it? Not at all. It totally effed the industry in the A. Hungry people listen to financial pressure, not social pressure. Say I have a room full of people and a product. If half the people in the room can't buy the product because they're allergic to it, I get rid of them and focus on the people who can buy it. I'm not going to try to sell bacon to a vegetarian Muslim. Just get rid of them. Talk to the guy who has money and wants to eat your bacon. Social media and its ability to pressure the creators destroyed comics. Kids are on social media more than adults. Kids start far left. As they mature, they move right. So right-of-center views aren't represented on social media. But they are still buyers, silent ones who need to be listened to. They are speaking with money, not with tweets. And they are the majority of your audience. Twitter allows far left-wing creators to pressure moderate left-wing guys into writing far-left, misandry, anti-European, racist stories. There are no mainstream far-right creators. Zero. Not even any moderate right-of-center ones. The industry got rid of EVS, Mike Miller, Doug TenNapel, even John Malin, who I guess is left of center, or even people like Chuck Dixon also, but like Tim Lim or JDA. I don't know if they're ever in that aspect of the industry, but they're talented people who would just never be hired because they're either moderates or they're right of center, and that's it. They have talent, and you have a whole group of people that your industry simply won't hire. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. There's no business meeting. No sane group of business people would sit together and lay these facts on the table and come to the conclusion, oh, we need to hire the people without merit. That's how the comic industry works. And to be fair, that's how films and Netflix and Amazon shows are starting to work also. It's a crazy industry run by crazy people. Anyway, I find it odd that this group of, EVS, Mike Miller, Doug TenNapel, and the rest, that they don't stick together. That doesn't quite make sense to me. I mean, they're all roughly aligned. Even here's the thing about War Campaign on Twitter is I find that I'm in agreement with them, at least like socially and politically. I just don't agree with harassing people endlessly, nonstop, for months on end. Like a meme or two in the beginning, and then just move on. But the thing is, it's one member of a group starts harassing someone, and then another member of the group picks up on it, and then another member responds to that. Thing is, it never ends. It goes on literally for months and years. I don't agree with that at all, even though I do agree with them on pretty much everything else. So it's kind of a weird schism there. I find it odd that more of us are not sticking together. The infighting, the circular fighting squad stuff, I don't get that at all. step back, look at the bigger picture, and say, okay, for the greater good, at least from a financial standpoint, you guys want to sell products? All these people who are selling products, great stuff, great comics. Don't you want to have campaigns like this, $160,000, as opposed to $1,600 campaigns? Well, you could have more campaigns where people hit six figures if we all got together, stopped with this childish behavior. We're all adults. Everyone in CG is over 18. A lot of them are in their 40s and 50s, and they're acting like childish little bitches. I've never known a group of people, adults, to act like this ever in any industry. Ever. Artists, writers, creative people are really, really weird. But it is what it is. And what would happen, I could go off on that topic Anyway, what would happen to Mark Waid if he did 180? If the bad guys weren't always of European origin? If his comics showed a more accurate reflection of reality? And when I pause like that, that means I'm doing some heavy editing on the fly. How would his fellow pros with blue check marks treat him? What if he had an American flag and a MAGA icon on his Twitter profile? Would he be fired? Not exactly. He just wouldn't be rehired, ever. He would be labeled a wrong thinker. Oh, and before I forget, on last night's Drink and Draw, and what's funny is I was in there, and I almost went in the live stream and said something like, hey, Zach, I know you're watching this, but they would just, if they got the reference, they would just ban it. Because I know a lot of people are watching this. I know EVS is probably watching, Zach's watching it, I'm watching it, a bunch of other people are watching it, to see how bad it is. I feel bad for those guys. So I was watching Drink and Draw, and it was on the same time that Wanger had a live stream. I had both playing on different devices for a while, and Wanger is awesome. I respect him quite a lot. I've seen him interact with people who were hostile to him, and he acted like a mature adult who acted his age. There's no greater compliment. And then you just like, that shouldn't that be the default? That's not really a compliment saying Wanger acted like an adult. He is an adult. Yeah, because it's so freaking rare in this group of people. And, I've done stupid things too, so I know. But Wanger, I don't even know his first name. He doesn't have the name recognition that the Drink and Draw guys do. I mean, they're not exactly household names, but they are pretty well known in this community. So why did Wanger have twice the audience? Because he and the group of guests he had on are all awesome. They're free to speak their mind without fear of being canceled by SGWs. Wanger and that whole group of people, they're Comics Geek. They're already SGWs. They're already pre-canceled. Anyway, they have elected to place John Malin at the head of the Centipede. Oh, man. Whoa. Looks like you've been eating over that winter. I hope that's an old photo, buddy. It's time to use this quarantine to drop a few pounds. Anyway, I wish I could edit these videos. I got to move over to the computer. Once I can start editing videos, I think they'll be a lot better. Because anyway, like, comment, subscribe. If you guys want to support the channel, send me your Cecil Pete art, and send me any art you send me, and I'll use for the channel. Or you can send me comics to my PO box, or hit me up on Coffee or Patreon, PayPal, or Cash App, or whatever. Or send me some Cash Grab comics or Super Harem. What did Wanger get up to? Super Harem, Carl O'Roe cover. This is just a cover, $5,400. Congratulations. All right, guys, I'll see you all next episode.